God has blessed me in so many ways, so much so that this farm boy from Iowa, by the time he was 25, answering his call to follow God as a priest, by the time I was 25, I had spent almost a fifth of my life as an immigrant, living in another country. Whether that was me studying Spanish in Spain or going to major seminary in Rome. And I can distinctly remember the two moments, one when I felt most proud to be an American, and the second when I felt most embarrassed. The first happened when I was in Ethiopia, which I mentioned last weekend in my homily. And I remember once when I was with the Missionaries of Charity, Mother Teresa's sisters in Ethiopia, one day they were distributing grain so that people who didn't have anything, who would walk for miles and miles and miles to get food, could have enough food to live another 2.5 weeks. And the image stamped on those food aid bags was an American flag. That was the moment when I was most proud to be an American, to see all of these people who were being helped by the generosity of our country. The second and the most embarrassing moment was when we were in our canon law class at the Pontifical Gregorian University. Go Greg. And our canon law professor was teaching us about, which is church law, was teaching us about the basis of church law. And he was talking about this idea that the whole church law is based on the use, or what is just to each person, what each person deserves. Each person has an inherent dignity in the eyes of God. And he used an example to show that the way that most undermines this idea of the use, or what's just to each person, is Roe v. Wade. Here was an Italian professor who was native Italian, speaking in Italian, to a room of students from all over the world, from every continent you could imagine, seminarians, sisters, lay people. And the example he used that most undermined the dignity of each person was Roe v. Wade. It was a humbling moment and a reminder that the whole world watches us, but also the humble reminder that we have so much more to go, that this fight for life is, as our first reading reminds us, a change that has to happen in the head and in the heart. That the law of God is written in our head and on our hearts. And the only way those two things can be changed is through prayer and advocacy. To speak up for those who have no voice, for those whose justice is taken away. But also to pray that this injustice stop, not only in our country, but throughout the world. That each and every person, no matter how small, no matter how vulnerable, will be seen as a child of God.